Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where it is Monday, April 12th, and it is time for another episode of Wayne Sharp Week. And before I get into this episode here, there was one thing I kind of wanted to hit on that came up after I posted my first episode of Wayne Sharp Week. Someone commented, "Dude, are you serious? Do you really carry a different knife every day? What's wrong with you?" Well, yeah, I do. One, because I just really like mixing up knives with kind of like the clothes I wear or what I'm like feeling that day. You know, when you have a collection of knives, you're not just going to carry one knife every day. The term EDC doesn't really mean a lot to me. All my knives are EDCs because I could potentially carry them every day if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I want to carry different stuff. I like mixing and matching. I'm not ashamed to say I like matching my knives with my clothes sometimes. If you think that's weird, well, that's not news to me. I already know I'm weird, so no issue there whatsoever. And really, that's kind of just part of the gig. When it comes to being a knife reviewer on YouTube, I would be doing you guys a disservice if I only carried one knife every day, because then I would just be lying to you about all the other knives I review and do all this stuff with. And that's not good for anybody. So I'm not going to do that. So yes, I do carry a different knife almost every day. Not all the time. There will be some knives, in particular the Quiet Carry Waypoint, the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio, the TRM Atom. There's a few knives that I do carry on, I wouldn't say a regular basis, but I'll carry them, 2-3 days in a row, which is pretty good for some knives. There's not a lot of knives I do that with. I hit spurts with other knives, but at the end of the day, this table here, the knives that hit this table, they go in my pocket. So when that happens, I can't carry the same knife every day. So now that that's cleared up, wanted to do that, I did. So now let's just get on with it. Let's take a look at the knives I'm going to be carrying this week. We're going to start off with a great one and a cheap one, the QSP Penguin. This knife is cheap in price, but not cheap in what you're getting back for what you pay in the $30 range. I found out that you could still get these in the $30 range at some places. They just have a lot of other models that are over the $40 mark. But regardless, this one here I paid $29.66, something like that for it. So good. Just a really good Wharncliffe blade, nice slicey blade. Love the denim micarta. I say it every time I have this knife in my hand, but I have to because it's one of the stronger points of this knife. If this just had a regular G10, it may, who knows. But the action's really good. The action is really, really good on it. Really love doing the Spidey flick on this, or not the Spidey flick, the middle finger flick. Really do like that. Thumb flick's fine. Everything on this knife is super smooth. This is one of the all-time best budget knives ever, in my opinion. So it does find its way into my pocket a lot, especially for what it is. It's kind of impressive because, I have some nicer knives, but there are some times I really just enjoy carrying a budget knife. A knife is not all about a price and a name. Sometimes it's just about, what makes you happy. This knife makes me happy. So gonna be in my pocket this week. Next up, we have another colorful one. This is the Finch Cimarron. And this is another one that I think is pretty underrated. Some people think it looks a little goofy. I don't think it looks that bad. And when I have it in my hand, it really looks even better in your hand. I know that sounds stupid, but when you're holding on to it, you don't quite notice the width of the handle that much, but you see a nice, slim blade that I think looks pretty good. Has a nice little slight drop to the point up here. Some really nice 14C 28N steel. And just a pretty good build by Finch. The G10 solid, the color is unique and it pops. I may be dyeing this at some point, but regardless, I do like the knife. It carries really well. It has a very good profile when it's closed. I just like it a lot. And the action is really, really good. And it falls shut surprisingly well. And not fall shut, but shake shut surprisingly well. I really do like this Finch knife Cimarron. Next up, got a little more of a bruiser here. This is the Kaiser Justice. One of my favorite Kaisers in recent memory, especially at the price point of $69. Really, really hard to beat. For a budget knife, it is a beater and a bruiser. Not really thick, but just super, super solid. Compared to some other knives, it may be thicker. It is slightly thicker than these two, but not by much. Has a nice deep carry clip, a glass breaker. One of these days, I'm going to use a glass breaker. I'm going to go to a find a window somewhere that won't get me in any trouble and use it, because I want to see how they work. But regardless, this is just a really, really nice blade. This blade actually, just from the outline, it really does kind of remind me of a Sebenza. I mean, am I right? Come on. I mean, it kind of does. About the same length. Now, it's obviously not the same steel. It's not a Chris Reeve, but it just does. The overall outline kind of reminds me of Sebenza, so I kind of like that. I like the grippy G10. I like the bluish gray color it has on it. And all in all, there's really not much I don't like about this knife. For a bigger knife, it's pretty fidget friendly. Really good flipping action. Actually, fantastic flipping action. Really good thumb stud, and also pretty easy to Spidey flick, and it's just a bigger blade, comes out with a lot of force. Very fun one to deploy, the Kaiser Justice. Next up, we got another knife on somewhat of the bigger side. This is the Real Steel Rokot, and it's another one. It's a personal favorite of mine. Just feels really good in the hand. Really like that N690 steel, and the overall design of this knife is just very, very sleek. This is a knife that could definitely do some pretty good work for you. You get a really good grip in hand, and it's just fun to play with too. It really is a good fidget knife. You can middle finger flick it. You can thumb flip it. You can front flip it. And all in all, just a very, very solid offering. Pretty unique design in my opinion. When you first look at it, it may look a little dull, but the more you look at it, you notice a lot of, subtle, quaint lines in it that are just really, really good, really nice. That's the Real Steel Rokot. Next up here, we got another Finch. This is a Finch heavy week. This is the Finch Holliday, and this is an excellent Wharncliffe blade. It has a nice kind of a throwback look to it, I think. A nice modern design, or I guess traditional design made modern. So really do like it. Like the black linen micarta. The Finch logo goes especially good on this model. And really, really nice pocket clip that goes in and out of the pocket, no problem. Like the bolster lock a whole lot. And I really like this blade. Nice little blade to dig in and do some nice little cuts with. 154 cm steel, and overall just a really, really solid offering from Finch. One of my more favorite Finches that he's come out with, and they're all pretty good, but this one's definitely towards the top. This is the Holliday. Yeah, it's a good one. Really like that pocket clip on this one. That really kind of helps make the knife for me. So there's the Holliday. And a couple more higher end ones. This here is the TRM Atom with some Gicarta, which is kind of like micarta. It's from a certain company in, I believe, Idaho. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. But they're becoming pretty big, and TRM, and I believe also ProTech, buy some of their materials, and they make really nice materials. They make really good Gicarta with different options. This actually has some little yellow threads in it, and it just makes for a little unique carry. So do like this. You pair these with the TRM Atom blade, and it makes for a really, really, really nice carry. The Atom is another one that kind of finds its way into my pocket a little more than the others, primarily because it's fully sourced and made in the USA, and I mean everything. Every screw, every little thing that puts this knife together comes from the good old USA, and there's not a lot of companies that can say that. There's a lot of companies that can say it's made in the USA, but they're not all fully 100% sourced and made. So that takes a lot of effort, and it makes it definitely adds a few hurdles to actually fully throw these knives through the production process, because there's just a lot more that goes into it, and with that, the price also goes up a little, but I do think these knives are justified for the price. It's a little harder to get one than it is anything else, but I think TRM's doing a pretty good job of getting them out there for the size of their shop and the work they're putting out. I actually think they're killing it. So props to TRM, and I hope they just keep doing what they're doing, and hopefully someday they can get even more out, and I think they will at some point. But regardless, just keep trying to get one and support a company like TRM, because they do a lot of great things, and I really do love this knife. They do live up to the hype. The action's good, the feel's good, they carry in the pocket well, and they're just really light. Really light, excellent clip. Not a whole lot of bad things I have to say about the TRM. As a matter of fact, no bad things. So, yeah, definitely take a look at TRM if you haven't yet. They're a great one. And last, but certainly not least, is the one where last week I said, you know, if I'm not carrying the Quiet Carry Waypoint, I'm going to carry this one, and it's this guy. This is the Spyderco Spydiechef, and again, I carry this for the corrosion-resistant properties this guy has. All titanium, LC200N steel. It's another one that is just extremely hard to rust at all. And I can be a sweater if I'm out walking around a lot or doing anything that's really exerting energy. Odds are I'm probably sweating. So it's really nice to have a knife on me that I know isn't going to get any type of corrosion buildup or rust going. And I never have to worry about that with the Spydiechef. It's made to use in the kitchen. Cut lemons with it, do all sorts of stuff, and just run it through some water, and it's good to go. Pretty unique design, very, very nice blade, and overall, just a very underrated Spyderco. I think one of the reasons it doesn't get quite as much love as the other knives is, not the easiest Spidey hole to access. I personally cannot, I can't Spidey flick it. I've seen people do it. Holy crap. That's a first. That's a first. Okay. So I take that back. You can Spidey flick this. I guess I just need to try harder sometimes. But all in all, that kind of puts a squash to my next point of that it's not quite as fidgety as other knives, because I actually just may have fallen in love with this knife a little more being able to do the Spidey flick. So, okay. Well, my week's already off to a really good start. There you go, guys. Spyderco Spydiechef. Let me know what you think of the spread this week. And of course, I want to know, what are you guys carrying this week? Let me know. Hope you guys have a great week. And until the next one, I'm out.